Jasmy pumps 26% in just a few days. Is it too late to buy Jasmy? Should I be buying Jasmy right now? When can I get into Jasmy? Guys, hold your horses. You need to understand a lot about what this is saying about your mentality and how to understand when we need to be entering into Jasmy. We're also going to look at where Jasmy is going and the price prediction for Jasmy later on. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get into today's video. So guys, I know Jasmy is a very popular coin on this channel and it's one of my favorites. I've been holding it for quite some time now and I've talked about it multiple times on this channel previously. If you remember, in a last video we made, I talked about these buy zones down here and we were getting in and buying Jasmy nicely down in these areas before seeing a pump, and now we're sitting around 36% in profit. I did say that we could potentially visit a buy zone slightly lower down, but as you can see, so far we haven't revisited that area. Now, as we know, Jasmy is a decentralized data. I've talked about how essential the requirement is for data going forward. Big data is a massive industry, but it's completely monopolized by just a few massive organizations. Amazon makes the majority of its money from big data and cloud services, not so much really from selling any products, which is probably something you didn't know and definitely something I didn't know until I found that out. Jasmy creates an ecosystem in which individuals like you and me create data and are rewarded for the data that you create in Jasmy tokens. Merchants then pay for the data in Jasmy coins and they get their data, you get rewarded for providing the data, and everyone is happy in this new fair ecosystem. It's one of very few regulated cryptos that exists in Japan. It has a team who used to sit on the board of companies like Sony, and Jasmy has already established key partnerships with Sony and Sony PlayStation going forward. So we know Jasmy is destined for great things. Market cap currently sat for Jasmy here at $363 million, and fully diluted is only $17 million more than that, which is really good. That means that there's not going to be a huge amount more tokens flooding onto the platform anytime soon. And in fact, we're going to be moving towards stages where they're going to be locking up a lot of tokens as well, which is going to reduce the supply. And once you reduce the supply, the demand remains high, then you're going to get the price increasing as well. We can see the volume is up 92% in just the last day or so. And that again is very positive. So why am I telling you to hold your horses? Although I made this video back in like December 2021, talking about Solana when Solana was pretty highly priced. And there was comments on my channel like, should I be buying Solana right now at $230? Sorry for exposing this guy, but he's probably so far away from crypto right now that he doesn't want anything to do with it because he's probably panic bought the top. Why I'm telling you to hold your horses is if you are a person who is asking questions such as, should I buy Jasmy right now? Well, guys, you and only you should know that answer, because you and everyone else has different agendas and different amounts of money and different amounts of risk tolerance and everything else. And the fact that you're asking whether or not you should buy that token right now shows that you are perhaps not doing the research that you should be doing in order to be invested in a particular coin. And the problem with doing this is if you buy a coin like Jasmy, for example, and you bought it here, and basically as soon as you bought it, Jasmy did this. Now let's say you paid $1,000 for that. You'd be $230 down, because what you would have done, because you panic bought the top, that same discipline problem, and that's what it is, I'm afraid, is going to cause you to panic sell the bottom. So what you would probably do is you would sell your Jasmy in here. And that means you've lost your 220, you're now sat with $780, where you could be sat down here with $1,000. Now what you might end up doing is waiting until you get to around here, and then probably what you're going to do is you're going to wait for Jasmy to get to a breakout point, and then you're going to say, right, I'm going to buy up here. And then, you know, maybe you get stuck in it and you see some gains. But $780 up here is nowhere near as good as your original $1,000. Down at this level, plus 37%, you'd have $1,370 compared with $780. And there's a difference in what I'm showing you there. And the difference is identifying what I want to buy, where I want to buy it, and not acting emotionally impulsively. If you are ever impulsive, like I must want to buy this right now, or I need to sell this right now, you really need to take a step back and have a deep breath and stop looking at 1 minute charts and zoom out to looking at like a minimum 4-hour chart. daily charts, ideally, if you're buying on spot. If you're day trading, different story. You might want to get down and dirty into the 15-minute charts. But, you know, if you're just trading on spot, guys, I wouldn't really be going too close in because it's too stressful. So let's understand a little bit about whether or not we want to be buying Jasmy this second after we've seen this break. Well, why is Jasmy increasing? Well, this is the last month, and we can see that the black line is the number of transfers, which we've been seeing going on. There's a number of unique receivers, the green line, also growing unique senders, increasing a little bit. Transfer amounts, which is this blue line, also starting to surge up as well. It's getting much more use. There's over 50,000 wallets now registered using Jasmy, which is obviously a very positive thing and shows the ecosystem is growing. Every day you're seeing tons of content on YouTube and Twitter about Jasmy. This is very positive for driving the ecosystem forward. That's a big tick. We understand that once we've delved in and looked into the product a bit more and understood that we do need a decentralized data democracy, and you can go and watch other videos on that in more detail, because I'm not going to bring too much detail on that in this video. If you understand that it has a good use case, if you understand that the team is solid, and if you understand that it's in a country where it has been regulated already and is allowed to operate in the capacity that it wishes to operate. All big ticks for me. So if I've already identified that I want to be buying it, well, let's look at the state of the crypto market right now. Where do I think the crypto market's going to be going in the next few months? Now, as we look at Bitcoin, kind of interesting, right? We've got this we're clearly trending downwards, and we have been since like middle of April. But we are getting bought up. Every time we're dipping down here, we're getting these big buys coming in. But what is a little bit concerning is this is a rising wedge. It does tend to dip, perhaps, towards the downside. If this rolls over and breaks this neckline, then Bitcoin could be heading down to around sort of this level, which would be around 24K. But still, could that be damaging for us? Well, there is a way to overcome this, because I look at charts all the time, and I can be honest with you right now, Bitcoin is kind of confusing. It's not really sure where it wants to go. You would anticipate that a move up would take us to around 32,500, but a move down could take us to 24,000. And the answer is there is no set formula right now, because we are still waiting to see the outcome of some of these patterns to know exactly where Bitcoin's going to go. And I look at charts all the time. And if you don't look at charts all the time, then how do you know where it's going to go? Well, the answer is you don't, guys. But the only thing you can do is you can make a decision to do things when certain parameters are met. And this is what I mean. If we go to Jasmy, I said before that we identified an area where we saw these big candles pushing out. Now, when we see big candles pushing out, we know that at some point we will probably return to that zone. And what we can do is we can draw and identify these zones. So we have this yellow box. This was my first buy zone. So lo and behold, when it dips back into here, I can buy it. Now, I know that this is a buy zone because these big candles represent that there was a lot of money flowing in here and it triggered buys. So I know that if it comes back into here, it's likely that the same thing is going to happen again. Now, is it going to come back into this zone? You know, it's very difficult to tell. So what can I do? It's already rallied. Now, what have I got? I can bring these boxes up with me because, you know, they're all the way down here. And let's make some use of them. Now, what we've got I can identify is some buy zones. Very handy. We can see these big candles here. Now, do I know whether Jasmy is going to carry on like this or do this? No, I don't. Does anyone know? No, they don't. And this is contrary to what you believe. Traders do not know exactly where it's going to go, but they make conditions for what they will do if it gets to a certain area. So I know that if it returns into this zone, then I'm looking to buy, because I know in the past we saw these big candles indicating big buying pressure from Jasmy. What we might see is like a pullback like this, and then another big push. And what do I do in that case? Do I jump in and FOMO in? No, I don't FOMO in. I might miss out on a good portion of a move. That's not a bad thing, right? If we see it move aggressively like this again, and what we've got is this little pullback, then we know that this is then the next buy zone. So what I can then do is move my box to there and have another box at possibly the next buy zone down below. So let's say that Jasmy smoothly moves out, comes back into this area. Now, I don't know that Jasmy is guaranteed to carry on bouncing or going down. So what I can do at this rate, if I've got $100 I use the solution, is put in $50 here, and if it comes back down again, I'll add another $50. That gives me an average price spent of this, rather than paying all of my money in here, or if it doesn't even get down to here, missing out my whole trade completely. This is a great way to gain exposure without paying too much money and to be confident in making the right decision. Now, one time you might miss out on a whole move and it might never come back to that buy zone, and you might miss out. You know what? You missed it. It's okay. There's always another trade. There's always another day. But there's not always more money to be able to invest in other things. So if you chuck all your money in at the top of something and it comes down hard against you, and we're looking at like Pepe coin right now, it's done like a few 100%, and it might keep going, it might rip back against you. That will leave some people who've been in crypto for about a month feeling so sour that they'll never want to get into crypto again because they've probably lost everything, and they will eventually, someone will lose everything. I'm sorry, someone's going to lose everything. And do you have to do it exactly like this? Absolutely not, guys. But all you need to know before you even pull the trigger on whether you're going to buy something or sell something is whether or not I even think that that project is a good project or not. Does it fulfill certain criteria that I want? Does it have a good team? Is it regulated? What are the upcoming potential effects of it? How diluted is it? How much inflation is it likely going to see? What are the tokenomics? Who owns most of the project? This kind of stuff is essential. Is it getting lots of marketing? How much investment have they had? These are all good things to know. And once you know all this, then you're going to set yourself up and look for an entry and not be impatient and dive in at any given point. Now, an easy way to avoid this, and you can come over to tradingview.com, which is an absolutely free tool, and this is free here, or you can get the paid version, which means you literally don't see ads. And you can click, right click, and then you can see it says add alert. Now that allows us to add an alert that's going to ping up if Jasmy returns back into a zone. I can then set up another one, and I can even label it as alert name Jasmy buy zone. And this gives me an opportunity to just go and do whatever it is I gotta do and wait for it to come back there. But that's fine. At some point it's going to happen. And every day, perhaps, if you want, you can start to look at charts and identify what they move like. And this is why you want to identify how they move, guys. But in the bigger picture, what Jasmy has really effectively done right now is broken out of this downtrend. And in fact, Bitcoin's downtrend on the 4-hour looks very similar to this. We basically got this like cup pattern here and this handle, cup and handle, and this tends to break something like from the height of the cup from the breakout point, which would be around where it is now. And you can see that would bring Jasmy to around 1.4 cents, which from current levels would be a push of 94%. Now, is it guaranteed to do that? Absolutely not. Will it get a pullback before that? Potentially. If it doesn't, it's going to get a pullback at least along the way somewhere. Because we can see here the previous lines where it hit resistance. Now, if we get up to this area, then we'll get a significant pullback. We could actually get a pullback where we are right now because you can see we run into this line of resistance. But it doesn't necessarily matter, right? We're looking for better entries. And you're saying, well, yeah, what does it matter if I wait a little bit longer? It matters a lot, guys, because if you're protecting yourself against like a 20% downside move right now, you're actually going to gain 20% more investment. So if we use that $1,000 idea where we invest $1,000 and we get in 20% cheaper, it means we're now $200 better off. And if we look at Jasmy, you know, back to this previous swing high at around 32 cents, then you're looking at a 36x, which is $36,000. But if I went in higher and I cost myself $200, I then only have, let's say, $800, and that would be $28,600, which is still not bad, don't get me wrong, but that's going to cost you $8,000. That decision to not be patient could cost you $8,000 at the bottom on a really quite a small investment. So it's very important that you're patient and you find the right places to buy in at. And it's not just about getting the very best price, but it's about being a master of yourself, because you will be your own worst enemy in crypto, because you're going to be irrational, panicked, full of fear, full of hype, full of excitement. You know, you're going to go on this roller coaster of emotions. And if you can't control yourself and pull the trigger when only you say you're allowed to pull the trigger, then you're going to get absolutely wrecked in whatever coin it is. And it might be on this one, it might be on the next one, It might not even be on that. It could be on one down the line, but it's going to happen at some point. You must gain control of your own emotions, and it is so much harder than perhaps people think. And this is a great way to train it into yourself. Guys, I hope you enjoyed Jasmy update today. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. See you in my Telegram. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.